Speaking of young people who could benefit from hearing common sense conversations, let's discuss this Columbia insanity. So, over the past week, as we know, students at Columbia University have taken over the main lawn, among other places, on campus, setting up tents with their Palestinian flags, chanting, and calling for, honestly, I don't really quite get what. They seem to be calling to have the university divest from certain businesses they do with companies in Israel. They chant these kind of cryptic things about genocide and the university being silent and complicit. And of course, as we know, thanks to entities like PragerU and others who send people out to take videos on Columbia's campus, when you actually ask these individuals some specifics about what they are advocating for or what they believe or what river and what sea, they have absolutely no idea how to respond. So yesterday, the president of Columbia University, in a rare moment of actually trying to enforce consequences for behavior, said to students, if you don't clear out from your encampments by 2 p.m. Eastern, you will either be suspended or you will not finish the semester in good standing. Well, unsurprisingly, the students did not clear out by the 2 p.m. Eastern deadline yesterday at Columbia. And by the way, just a quick note, I am here in New York City right now. That's where I am broadcasting my guest hosting. And I'm here in New York City because I have gone up to Columbia and taken videos of what is going on there. I'm heading back there today. I'm looking to find a bulletproof vest in the meantime. If anyone in the New York area knows of a place to get one or would be kind enough to lend me one so that I can go there relatively unscathed. But I have been around that campus. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed inside the campus because they check student IDs. But the outside of campus, as I talked about on the show yesterday, and as you can see on my YouTube channel, was absolutely radical, crazy, insane, and sobering. So they didn't clear out yesterday, these students. And last night, they broke into, among other places, Hamilton Hall. Hamilton Hall is one of the main academic buildings on campus. The dean of Columbia has an office there. And according to the Wall Street Journal, quote, they took over and barricaded themselves inside of that building. There are videos of them smashing glass and running in. Sean, do we have that video? Do we have that prepared? No. Okay. Well, just imagine it in your head. It's exactly what you would anticipate that it would look like. So these students, it seems, do not care at all about any of the warnings that have been issued by the university. And really, can we blame them? Because as I have often said for literally years, these universities give the mouse a cookie. They have been giving the mouse a cookie for quite some time now, where students go in. I remember when I was at Harvard, there was a speech on campus, and students came in with pots and pans, and they were chanting, disrupting the speech, and they had all these big signs calling on Harvard to divest from fossil fuels. Now, to my knowledge, none of those students face disciplinary action. In fact, in many cases, those students aren't even given a slap on the wrist. They're not even verbally given a slap on the wrist. A lot of the times, they were actually indeed praised for that kind of behavior. And there are so many more examples besides just the climate change protests. We have seen this with a variety of political issues. We have seen students protest classes, protest speakers, guest speakers. And so over time, when students have learned that they can do this, and they will not only not be punished, but they will be rewarded, what do you expect? And I know that this is a little bit sacrilege of a conservative commentator like me to say, but I've got to tell you, there's a part of me that is actually somewhat happy that this is going on. Of course, I am not happy that it is violent. I am not happy that students like the one who I spoke to yesterday, the senior at Columbia University, feel so unsafe, and indeed are so unsafe, that they cannot go to class. I am so sad that graduation may not happen. I am so sad that these universities with so many opportunities and resources and potential have descended into the dregs. But this sort of needed to happen because these universities have gotten so rancid. They have capitulated to spoiled radical brats for too long. And quite frankly, many of these faculty and administrators are, at the very least, incompetent, and probably even more than that, fraudulent and corrupt. And so when something like this happens, as terrible as it is, in a way it's a good thing because it is exposing the rotten state of these universities for what it really is. And in a way, these universities had to become non-functional for people to wake up. I can't figure out how it's taken them this long to wake up, but it sort of had to get to this point for people to realize, oh, we have to change course, and we have to change course rather quickly. Sean, do we have the videos of Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton praising graduates? I'd like to play those for those listening. One of the things that I have long observed as a former member of these universities, I went for those who don't know or are unfamiliar with my work with Dennis. I recently graduated from Harvard, coming up on 2 years ago. And as I was opining earlier, while I was there, I remember deans and faculty members and speakers praising us when we would be activists or when we would resist the patriarchy and the heteronormativity and the bigotry. I remember at my graduation, for instance, dean after dean got up and said, "You, graduating class, you are the most tolerant, diverse generation in American history. You have stood up to the big issues in our country, and you are going to make the world a better place." And I remember sitting there thinking, as much as I had, in many ways, a great experience at Harvard, and as much as I met wonderful people and made wonderful friends, I remember sitting there going, first of all, how do you know that we are so great? You don't know us personally. It was quite pandering, in my opinion. And second, many of us, frankly, are probably not going to make the world a better place and may contribute to this radicalism and wokeism, which has now infected our country. But the critical point is that we were constantly puffed up and praised.
For the full episode of the Dennis Prager Show, go to pragertopia.com, sign up, and become a full member.